The movie opens in 1996 as Vreeke discovers a mysterious box buried in the sand during his beach jog and decides to take it home. Upon realizing that it is a board game, he chooses to gift it to his son. However, Alex, his son, is more captivated by his video game. That night, Alex hears an unusual noise and wakes up. When he opens the board game box, he discovers that Jumanji has transformed into a video game and decides to start playing. This seemingly small decision proves disastrous, as Alex vanishes without a trace that night. Years later, Spencer Gilpin, a nerdy video game enthusiast, plans to meet his childhood friend Anthony Johnson to hand over his homework. Since Anthony joined the school's football team, he has distanced himself from Spencer, who occasionally attempts to reconnect with him. However, Anthony always finds something more engaging than spending time with his old friend. Unexpectedly, after Anthony leaves, Vreeke, now a bitter old man, appears at the gate and warns Spencer not to return. Surprised, Spencer goes away, and Vreeke goes back to his strange home called Freak House. Beth Walker, one of the school's most attractive and popular girls, is constantly preoccupied with maintaining the appearance of a perfect life. During class, she makes a video call to a friend to complain about the low number of likes on a photo she posted earlier, only to be caught by her teacher. The teacher, astonished by Beth's behavior, declares that she will be sent to detention after school. Bethany arrives late to her gym class and hurries to join her peers on the court. Among them is Martha, a girl out of place who despises sports. She attempts to persuade her teacher to exempt her from participating, arguing that life is too short to waste on something so trivial. As Martha delivers her speech, Spencer can't help but watch her. Suddenly, another teacher enters the court and informs Spencer that he is needed in the principal's office. Upon arrival, he quickly understands the problem. The teacher has noticed striking similarities between Anthony's work and Spencer's previous submissions, leading both boys to be summoned. Later, Principal Bentley gathers the 4 problematic students and instructs them to follow him to the future computer room, which requires cleaning before renovation. He assigns the small group the task of tidying up the space. While sorting through old items, Anthony discovers an ancient video game console. Spencer decides to connect it to the TV and starts the Jumanji game. They choose their characters, and once the game begins, an eerie noise fills the room, and the device starts blinking rapidly. Spencer unplugs the machine, but their bodies are sucked into the video game. Spencer is the first to arrive in the forest, horrified to find himself with large muscles instead of his usual physique. His 3 friends soon join him, barely recognizing each other in their new forms. Spencer realizes they have all become the avatars they selected in the game. He is now Dr. Smolder Bravestone, a renowned archaeologist and explorer. Anthony has turned into Moose Finbar. Martha is now Ruby Roundhouse, and Bethany is shocked to find herself as a short, chubby, middle-aged professor named Shelly Oberon. Noticing tattoos on their wrists, the new team members realize they mark their lives in the game. As Professor Shelly panics, trying to understand what is happening, a giant hippopotamus sneaks up and devours him. The remaining players believe Bethany's journey has ended, but are astonished to see her avatar's body fall from the sky. The hippopotamus reappears and chases them, but they are rescued by Nigel Billingsley, who drives them to safety. During the ride, Nigel informs them that Jumanji is in peril, and that they have been chosen to lift the curse plaguing the world. He reveals that all the mission details are in a letter sent to Dr. Bravestone, and asks him to read it aloud. Nigel, the Jumanji guide, has been hired by Professor Russel Van Pelt to lead an expedition to find the legendary Jaguar Temple, which houses the sacred Jumanji jewel. After years of research, Professor Van Pelt finally discovered the location of the jewel and decided to steal it for himself. According to legend, the Jaguar guards Jumanji, and anyone who blinds him will be consumed by a dark power. Upon seizing the jewel, Van Pelt gained control over all the creatures of Jumanji, casting a terrible curse upon the land. Nigel pleaded with Van Pelt to return the stone, but once Van Pelt possessed it, he could not part with it. So, Nigel waited until everyone was asleep, then took action and retrieved the jewel. Now he hands it over to Dr. Bravestone, hoping that he and his friends can return it to the temple and lift the curse. The explorer also receives a map of Jumanji, and is told to visit the bazaar to find the missing piece needed to secure the stone's safety. Spencer entrusts Anthony with keeping the jewel in his backpack, and the group discovers that Bethany's avatar is the only one who can read the map due to her cartography skills. At this moment, Spencer becomes curious about his abilities and finds a way to access them. He discovers that, in addition to being strong, fast, and fearless, his character has no weaknesses. Martha is a martial arts expert with venom as her greatest weakness. Bethany is skilled in cartography, archaeology, and paleontology, but has little physical resistance. Lastly, Anthony is an excellent zoologist and assistant, though he lacks strength and speed and cannot eat cake. Jumanji continues to astonish, as the quartet is pursued by armed bikers. They must evade capture to avoid being eliminated. During the chase, Martha discovers her skills when Bethany is in danger. The fighter runs towards a biker and knocks him out with a powerful kick to the chest. Meanwhile, Spencer and Anthony hide together, and Spencer asks his assistant for a weapon. The first item Anthony finds in his backpack is a boomerang, which Spencer uses to try and fend off their enemies. When their plan fails, the duo keeps running, only to be surprised when the boomerang returns and takes out each of their pursuers. Moments later, new attackers appear, and Spencer must carry Anthony, the slowest of the group, on his back to escape. They find themselves surrounded and face a dead end, with the only option being to jump into a waterfall and hope for survival. The bikers, believing their targets are eliminated, leave the area, but the quartet resurfaces unharmed. Martha then reveals the grim news that she was shot and her body vanishes. She reappears moments later, but the tattoo on her wrist now shows she has only 2 lives left. The heroes come to the conclusion that if a character loses all their lives, they are out of the game for good. In a race against time to find the missing piece of the map, the group hurries to the village on the other side of the mountain. In a remote jungle location, Van Pelt's soldiers report losing their targets. Van Pelt declares he will summon all the creatures of Jumanji to locate them as they make their way across the mountain. Spencer and Anthony confront their strained friendship, and the basketball player becomes furious, realizing that his spot on the team is in jeopardy due to Spencer's academic dishonesty being exposed. In a heated argument, the zoologist loses control and accidentally pushes Spencer off a cliff, causing him to lose one of his lives. When Spencer returns, Anthony attempts to physically retaliate, but Spencer, despite his anger, saves Anthony from falling off the cliff edge. Hours later, they arrive at a bustling village and stop for a snack. Mistaking various breads for harmless snacks, Anthony devours what turns out to be cake, fearing the consequences of his weakness. In a panic, Anthony's body explodes, causing havoc around him. He regains composure and accidentally destroys merchandise nearby. A local boy approaches Dr. Bravestone's group and offers to guide them to their destination. Leading them to a tent, he warns them about a dangerous object inside a basket. Suspicious, Dr. Bravestone cautiously inspects the object and finds a snake inside. Recognizing it as a deadly black mamba, Moose Finbar warns of its lethal venom. They devise a plan to distract and neutralize the snake. However, the plan goes awry, and the snake leaps toward Martha. Spencer intervenes swiftly, managing to grab the snake, while Anthony seizes the opportunity to disable it by removing its fangs. Bethany checks the basket and finds not the missing map piece, but a small elephant sculpture with a note advising them to climb when they see it. Perplexed, they leave but are soon pursued by more bikers. Attempting to flee, they are surrounded. Spencer uses his skills as Dr. Bravestone to create an opening for escape. Just when they think they're safe, Van Pelt appears and threatens them. Suddenly, a black smoke emerges, distracting Van Pelt and his men. A masked boy guides them through a culvert, and they follow him to safety. Alex, in the body of aviator Jefferson McDonough, leads them through traps to his hideout in the jungle. There, they share margaritas and learn that Alex is Alan Parrish, trapped in Jumanji for months due to his inability to pass the game's second stage alone. Alex reveals he holds the key to their mission, the missing piece of the map, essential for progressing in the game. Upon arriving at the transport shed, the young man reveals their plan: steal a vehicle, cross a canyon, and reach the jaguar statue. However, the area is heavily guarded by dozens of armed soldiers, posing a major obstacle. Their first task is to distract the guards so they can infiltrate. Bethany asks Martha to use her charm to divert the soldiers' attention, and teaches her how to execute the distraction while the team hides behind a rock. As they wait, Alex starts using slang from 1996, prompting Spencer to inquire about his arrival in the game. They realize Alex has been trapped in Jumanji for over 20 years. Spencer asks if Alex is related to Mr. Reed, discovering that 2 decades have passed in the real world. Shocked by this revelation, Alex gathers his resolve to continue the mission. While Martha struggles to distract the soldiers, the rest of the team storms the base, searching for a suitable vehicle to cross the gorge. Anthony accidentally knocks over motorcycles, creating a noise that alerts the guards. Martha uses her fighting skills to fend off the guards, allowing the team to regroup at the shed and celebrate her victory. However, Anthony spots approaching bikers and urges the team to flee quickly. They scramble into a helicopter, piloted by Alex. As they take off, the bikers launch missiles and damage the helicopter's propeller, causing it to crash. The pilot struggles to stabilize the damaged aircraft, unable to climb as they enter a valley, where they are pursued by dozens of carnivorous rhinos. Spencer climbs out to repair the propellers just as they narrowly avoid crashing into a mountain, thanks to Alex's last-minute flight. Amid celebrations, Anthony realizes the Jumanji jewel fell into the valley. They return to retrieve it, discovering the rhinos oddly protecting the stone. Apologizing, Spencer devises a risky plan, using Anthony as bait to recover the jewel, ensuring its safety before Anthony is rescued. As they land safely and celebrate their success, Alex is bitten by a mosquito, his greatest weakness. Desperate, Bethany performs mouth-to-mouth to save him, restoring one of his lives. Concerned, she later comforts Alex, who worries about his parents suffering over his long absence. Meanwhile, Martha and Spencer bond while fetching water. Spencer confesses his love for Martha, surprised to find she feels the same, leading to a clumsy first kiss. Anthony interrupts, urging them to focus as he claims to have found the jaguar statue nearby. Guided by Bethany's map, they find a trail at night, Spencer preparing to safeguard the jewel. Suddenly, torches illuminate a forest path, likely a trap. Remembering the note with the elephant sculpture, Bethany advises against the route. Bravestone attempts to climb trees but startles a squirrel, falling and devoured by a giant feline, revealing the area is surrounded by jaguars. Spencer confides in Anthony about his fear of one life left, doubting his ability to finish the mission. Anthony encourages him, reflecting on life's singular nature and choosing how to live it. They split up when bikers approach, Martha attacking soldiers while Alex distracts jaguars for Spencer to secure a motorcycle. Using a flamethrower, Spencer evades jaguars and reaches the mountain. Bethany faces a feline attack, the creature mysteriously withdrawing. Anthony communicates with a giant elephant and retrieves the jewel, arriving just as Van Pelt threatens Bethany. Van Pelt's pets surround Martha and Alex, but Spencer returns riding an elephant with the jewel, forcing the felines to retreat. Alone in the battle, Spencer confronts Van Pelt, determined to protect his friends. The villain attempts to shoot Anthony, but Bethany intervenes, causing the frightened elephant to accidentally fling the jewel away. Alex and Bethany try to immobilize Van Pelt, while Martha urges Spencer to climb the statue. Retrieving the jewel, Martha discovers the area is surrounded by poisonous snakes controlled by Van Pelt. As Spencer nears the top, Martha steps on a snake to distract Van Pelt, sacrificing herself to deliver the jewel before succumbing to the snake bite. Spencer places the jewel in the jaguar's eye, but nothing happens as despair sets in. Remembering Nigel's advice, Bethany shouts, "Jumanji!" restoring the universe and banishing Van Pelt and the snakes. Meanwhile, Nigel arrives, congratulating them for breaking the curse. Alex disappears in his original form, followed by Bethany and Anthony. Spencer tries to convince Martha to stay, but she insists on returning home with him. Ecstatic to be back, the quartet wonders about Alex's absence from school. They visit Mr. Vreeke's transformed house, where Alex, now older with a family, arrives simultaneously. Recognizing his old friends, Alex explains his return to 1996 after completing the game. Bethany hides her disappointment, but is delighted when Alex reveals his daughter shares her name, grateful for their enduring bond. Weeks pass, and the friends remain inseparable since their return. Martha and Spencer finally discuss their Jumanji experience, leading to their first real-life kiss. Determined to prevent others from suffering, they decide to permanently rid the world of Jumanji, bringing the movie to an end. We hope you enjoyed this recap of Jumanji. Welcome to the jungle. Please remember to like, subscribe, and comment on what you think about the movie. Thanks for watching.